Hello and welcome back to Diary of a Name Dropper, the podcast. I'm always excited, but I'm really excited because I've got a bit of a girl crush / marketing crush on my guest today. She is a marketing guru. She's gone viral about 3 times and she's got a new book out which she's self-published. Can't wait to chat to the one and only, and of course she's a 2-lit chick, which you shouldn't say too fast, Julia Boggio. Welcome, Julia, to Diary of a Name Dropper. Diary? I sounded slightly drunk then. I can assure you I'm not.
Hey, why not? Why not? Why make it,
I'm only on my 4th cup of Barry's tea, and that is my poison. Now, I should just explain, we share a producer. Julia is one half of 2-lit chicks, which you really can't be drunk and say. And so we've both been giggling a little bit about our pedant producer. Who's telling me off for being too loud and too boomy. But yes, we'll come to 2-lit chicks because I want to discuss it, because I know you have, it's about books that change your life, but your podcast changed my life. It really did. No, it really did.
Oh.
Not just because you keep Jeremy busy. I mean, that is a factor.
And we do. We definitely keep him busy.
But I want to go back to, I mean, we met years ago, I think, on a photography workshop with Melissa Love. I think you might have been there. Were you there at the... I'm trying to work out how we first originally knew you, but I know you're part of the photography gang with Melissa and because you know Carey, who is another Paul Callingbird, who's a photographer. So
yeah, it's a very small community, a small and tight-knit community.
A small, incestuous community, which is, idea for a book.
Yeah.
But you are an internet sensation. If I didn't know you through mutual friends, I know you through your viral YouTube video, which I didn't realise was you, and I've watched far too many times for my own good. And I remember even saying, God, that husband is so sexy. If my husband did something, I actually did. Like, he's great. He's great.
He's a good one.
Like, it's not a goofy dance. It's a proper dance. It's really sexy, and I love it. But should explain, Julia went viral for one of the first ever, I know everyone does it now, but you were the first ever wedding dance kind of thing. Explain what happened. It's brilliant.
So we had a whole movie-themed wedding. We got married in 2005, and this was kind of pre-YouTube times. And so we had a whole movie-themed wedding. So, I walked down the aisle to How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria, and we walked back out to the Indiana Jones theme tune.
I love it.
Starting a new adventure. All on a string quartet. We'd like to keep it very classy. And then we thought, well, what should we do for our first dance? And we did a lot of Amdram at the time, so we knew a lot of people with the skills to teach us a first dance. So we decided to challenge ourselves, and we decided to do the dance from Dirty Dancing. And so we asked our friend Stuart to choreograph it for us, and so he did.
Is he a dancer? I'm
he
assuming.
Is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't like a random guest at the wedding.
No. He's a very good dancer and a great director as well. And so he taught us the dance, and then we asked a few of our friends to get involved to be like in the movie, the people who start dancing with Johnny. And we had a few rehearsals, and and we realized very quickly that James would not be able to lift me on his own. So we had some of our strongest, gayest friends help lift me into the air.
Strongest, gayest.
Yeah.
Strong in their gayness or their physical strength? I want to know.
Always. Strong and gay and proud. And so they helped lift me into the air, and it was hard to keep it secret, So finally the day came around, and we were all there, and in Barry. We got married in Barry at a little castle. So very. What was the name of that show? Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, did you? What, Barry Island?
No, it wasn't on Berry Island, but it was near there.
Oh,
so it was
it's beautiful round there.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. It was a place called Fodman Castle. And, after the wedding dance went viral, they sent us some champagne because they were like, we have been inundated with inquiries. And so I think we helped put them on the map where it came to wedding.
Oh, think of that
weddings.
missed opportunity of influencing that you could have actually been paid for that PR.
I know. That was way before that time.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So, yeah. But yeah, so we did it and, the guests all loved it and whatnot. But then we just sat on it for 2 years. Of course, we filmed it properly because at the time my husband was dabbling in the film and TV sort of industry. So he filmed it properly, edited it together, and then we just had it, sitting on our drives. And then YouTube comes along and we're like, should we just put it on so that our friends in America can see it? And so we did. We put it up, and the very next day we have a call from the Metro saying, we've seen your dance and we'd like to interview you for the paper. And so we're like, that's fun. We had like 200 views at the time. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. So it got interviewed. And then next morning, my husband went to get on the tube. And there were no Metros because they were all gone. And he was sitting there with his Times. And he looks over and he sees the woman next to him reading the Metro. And she's reading an article about us. And we thought it would be like a column inch. And it was an entire page, page 3. I'm a page 3 girl now, I guess. So there's a huge picture of us and whatnot. And so he looks at her and he goes, can I swap papers with you? And she's like, okay, why? And he's like, because that's me. And she's like, oh my God. And so he got off at the next stop and he called me to tell me. And I was like, whoa. Forget about that. Richard and Judy have been on the phone and they want us to come on there tomorrow. So, and then it just snowballed and snowballed and snowballed. And we went on Sky News, we were on BBC, pretty much everywhere. And we were in newspapers all over the world in all kinds of languages. When we were in Australia, we were there on our honeymoon. We went on a very late honeymoon. And a friend of ours worked in media, and so she told the local station. So we were on, Sunrise TV with Koshi, and I can't remember the other lady's name. But yeah, no, it just went on and on. And so then we decided, let's go get away for a while. Let's go to Greece, have a little holiday. So we fly to Greece, and we get off the plane, and I turn my phone on, and there's a message, and I listen to it, and it's the Oprah Winfrey show.
Shut up. Oh my God.
I know. And so, I call them back and they're like, yeah, we're doing a whole show on YouTube next week. Oprah's just discovered it. And we wanted, they were having the people who started YouTube on, and P. Diddy was doing something, and they had Paul Potts. And if you remember him.
Yeah.
And a skateboarding dog who's probably now passed away. But so we went. They flew us out
so
to.
They flew you. They paid us, and everything.
Yeah, they paid. Flew us out to Chicago, and my parents also came out from Virginia, and they were in the audience. And so they kept saying to us, "Oh, just learn half the dance. Just learn the first half of the dance." And we're thinking, "Why do you want us to just learn the first half of the dance? That's not even the best half." And so we did. And then she calls us up on stage and. She's like, yeah, talking to us for a bit. And then she's like, but we want to see the dance. So we start dancing and the audience is politely clapping along because we are not the most amazing dancers. So, we learned a dance.
I think that's mean. I think you're both actually very good.
Thank you. You're so
You keep
kind.
your chin up. That's the good thing.
Yes.
That's the first rule of dance. Keep your chin.
Yeah, keep your chin up and keep a smile on your face. Yeah. So the audience is politely clapping along and suddenly, they start going crazy. And I just am thinking to myself, God, we're not that good. And I look over my husband's shoulder and I see Patrick Swayze walking towards us.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much how I felt. And he taps my husband on the shoulder and he's like, can I cut in? And
oh my God, I've actually gone a bit sweaty.
I pushed my husband out of the way.
I
and
bet
I'm like,
you did.
Yes, take me, I'm yours. And so he takes me in his arms, his very strong arms.
What did he smell like? Amazing.
He smelled good. He was just like
Patrick Swayze.
He was smelled like a Patrick Swayze in a bottle, And
the 80s.
Oh man. And so he starts throwing me around and whatnot, and then my husband doesn't like to be left out of the fun, so he runs across the stage and he yells at Patrick. He goes, Patrick, let's do the lift. and he literally launches all 12 stone of himself at Patrick Swayze. And Patrick, they do kind of like a little mini lift or whatnot.
So
but
Patrick lifted your husband, not you?
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
that's
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
That's brilliant. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I mean, so how many hits had you got by this point? And then did you upload your Oprah Winfrey onto the YouTube channel? And did you sort of keep it going, the momentum going? Or?
Yeah. So I think around this time we got to around 10 million hits after being on Oprah.
You cannot pay for that kind of publicity.
Well, you can't, especially because I was working as a wedding photographer at the time.
I mean, come on.
You know,
it's unbelievable.
yeah.
I mean, I know you are a marketing guru and we will come to that. But this is insane. This is just...
Yeah, it was very good for business.
Yes. Wow.
I was very good at wiggling into conversations, because of course after Oprah we were on another round of couches to sit on. So again we went back on BBC Breakfast and all kinds of stuff. And so I managed to get into all the conversations, and I'm a wedding photographer.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
So we can view all these, and what we'll do is we'll put all the links in the show notes, because I think people have to see what we're talking about. We're not just talking about a little sort of wedding dance. This is a fully orchestrated.
Yeah, but I mean, it was amazing. Yeah, because it started a worldwide trend in choreographed first dances. And it was around the same time that Thriller dance came out. So it was kind of the two of us who started it. And it just kind of it went from there.
Oh, I mean, absolutely brilliant. So you're working as a wedding photographer. You're picking up loads of work off the back of it, which is amazing. You are a brilliant marketeer, I have to say. I love everything you do. I mean, when I should then say, you then came into our lives, into Jeremy's life, because you decided to do a podcast. So what made you decide you wanted to do a podcast? Because it is a brilliant podcast.
So I was a photographer for about 15 years, and then I was ready for a change, because I think for me personally, 15 years is a long time to do one job. Yeah. And I was getting tired of the hustle. It is a really hard job. A Bridezilla's
awful.
Well, I wasn't doing brides at that. I stopped shooting weddings in around 2012,
okay.
But I was running one of London's, or if not London's top portrait studio. And so I was working with very wealthy people, minor foreign royalty, celebrities, all this kind of stuff. And I think I just got worn down. I was tired.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm ready for my next stage. And, before going into photography, I had been a copywriter, an advertising copywriter. And I always knew that I wanted to write books. And I thought, you know what, I think I'm at that stage now. I mean, God knows I had enough great material from 15 years as a wedding photographer, with the people I was working with. So I decided that it was time to flex my writing muscle. And so over the pandemic, just before the pandemic, I closed down my photography business, which turned out to be amazing timing. And I started working on my first book. And it's a book called Shooters. So it's about wedding photographers. And so I worked on that all over the pandemic. And then afterwards, it took a few years. And then I was ready to, start sending it out to publishers. And, I got an agent, all that sort of stuff. And
how did you get an agent, though? I mean, that in itself is not just something to say, oh, and I got an agent. I mean, that's brilliant. You got an agent.
No. Well, it was good. I did a course. So over the pandemic, I did a course with Curtis Brown Creative.
Right. Yeah.
And they're one of the top agencies in the country.
Yeah, they are.
And they run some brilliant courses for writers. So if you anything that you want to write, they've got a course for it. And so I was on this 6-month selective course with 15. There were 15 of us, and we became very close over the pandemic. We, just over Zoom and whatnot. We none of us actually saw each other face to face until much afterwards. And so one of the ladies that I became friendly with was Jen Hyatt, and we were both sort of on submission around the same time, and we thought. Oh, I skipped the bit about the agent. Sorry, I'll go back to that.
That's okay.
Agent. So on the back of that course, she worked for one of the sister agencies of Curtis Brown, and she read some of my stuff while I was on the course, and she liked it. And so when I was ready, she
fantastic.
Took me on. But I did have offers from a couple agents, but she was the one that I kind of clicked with the best. And so I met Jen Hyatt while I was on this course. We were on submission at the same time, which is when your agent has sent your manuscript out to publishers, and you're basically waiting for one of them to pick it up off their desk and read it.
So just to ask a question. So do you obviously need an agent to get published, but for self-publishing, which we'll come to, you don't need an agent. Am I right?
You don't. You don't necessarily need an agent to go traditional either.
Oh, really?
You can work directly with publishers, and sometimes publishers do put calls out for people to submit to them.
Surely.
Yeah, but for you
direct.
as a writer, it's good to know that somebody is checking over your contracts and negotiating and looking out for you. And also, they would handle things like foreign rights and film rights and all that kind of stuff. So, they can be handy. I think if you can get one, I think that it's a handy thing to have. And yes, they take 20%, but
it's worth it.
Yeah. So while our books were on submission, Jen and I were like, well, let's do something, because we are not women who like to sit around and wait. And so we came up with this idea of starting a podcast, and we called it Two Lit Chicks. And we got together one weekend in Edinburgh, and we wrote the theme song, and we got a recommendation from Melissa Love for a producer. And so we got in contact with Jeremy, and we had some calls with him. And by the end of that weekend, we had a theme tune. We, had our first guest booked. We had everything ready to go. And Two Lit Chicks was born.
And it has just gone from strength to strength. I mean, first up, your branding, it just jumps. You are a genius, Julia. I'm sorry, but I know that you've written this book that's amazing, and you've done but your marketing is... I'm in awe of you, and I one day want to have a consultant with, I want to sit with you and ask you a million questions, because I just think you're so brilliant. You just seem to know when the time is right. I don't know whether that's an American thing. When we were in New York, the way people sort of received us was completely different to the way the Brits received what I do. And I do think Americans value creativity a bit more. I always feel like I'm justifying my work, and because people can't often see what goes in behind, a photo shoot or things like that. It's really hard. And
it's hard work.
I had this conversation this morning with, someone slightly different generation who maybe doesn't appreciate what I do, and was just asking. And it's like, this is my job. It's like I'm not just someone to sort of phone, and it's really hard to be taken seriously. And I think you come across with your branding and everything like a serious professional getter. I mean, it's just superb. It really is. I love it. And the thing I love about your podcast the most is it got me reading again.
Oh, that's good.
I've got ADHD, so to get into doing anything is quite difficult. But then once I'm into it, I can stay in it for hours. And I just needed that sort of... It was sort of a push. It ignited my interest in books, but also there was a degree of FOMO, because I thought, I want to be part of this conversation. I want to know what they're talking about with their books. So I started reading the books you were talking about, and you've now got, the authors you've had on. We
aimed high.
Bloody hell. I'm terrible with authors' names, but I know books. And tell us some of the authors you've had on, because everyone needs to go and check out the episodes. It's incredible.
So early on we had Julie Cohen was our first guest, and she was great because she can talk about books all day, and she was just a fantastic person to chat with. But soon after that we had Bonnie Garmis on.
Come on.
And she's still hot property. She's fantastic. She wrote Lessons in Chemistry, which is a book that has been winning awards and breaking records and all kinds of stuff, and it's about to be a TV show as well. So it was really great to get her sort of early on in that process. And then we spoke with Claire Fuller, who was the last Costa Novel Prize winner, because they're no
Bitter
longer
Orange,
doing it.
Am I right?
Yeah, Bitter Orange.
Yeah.
And who else? Nikki May, who wrote Wahala, which is also going to be turned into a TV show. It's
Chocolat.
Chocolat. Joanne Harris.
Joanne Harris. Like, that's a film. I know. And you've and the guy that wrote bloody Karate Kid, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
And then he just kind of casually mentioned that he wrote other things as well. And it's like Jeremy gets to edit. I mean, you the beauty of our lovely studio is that you can interview people in New York, and you're based in London. You're from New York, but you're based in London.
Yeah, I'm from New Jersey. Yeah, but I've
You're a Sopranos fan.
Hey, Badda Bing. That's what I used to sound like before
Badda
London
Bing.
smoothed my accent out.
Really? Were you proper New Jersey?
I wasn't that strong. Like I definitely had more of a twang to my voice.
I love it.
pronounce my T's now, which I didn't used to.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, you kind of say D instead of T as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Americans.
are you Italian as well?
Yes, I'm half Italian. Yep.
Gotcha. Oh, I okay.
But I'm Northern Italian, so obviously,
Oh, like my family. Where are you from? Because my cousin Jack, who was my first episode, is from Genoa. His dad was from Genoa.
Yeah. No,
Portofino and...
Yeah, of course. My father's from Torino, so not far from there. And
It's
a really
very
great
different.
city. Yeah.
Yes. Isn't it extraordinary how the north is so different from the south?
It's so completely different.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I genuinely got quite a shock because I've always grown up around northern Italians. I lived in Switzerland for a while. We used to go to Lugano, or we'd go to sort of over to, in Milan or Genoa and stuff like that. So I'd never really been down to the beautiful south, which is incredibly beautiful.
Oh, amazing.
But it's so different. I mean, it's
different.
the north is it's almost reverse to the UK, whereas the north. Like, I'm trying to be really diplomatic here, but I'm sure southern Italian. But Naples is the Wild West. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, and I just read The Godfather for the podcast with Fonda Lee,
wow.
so that was very
wow,
getting into all that. But yeah, no, it's they are very, very different. But I do absolutely love the north, and I love the mountains, and you've got everything in the north. You've got the sea, you've got the mountains, and the amazing food and the vineyards, and I mean it's just like.
And you have got Portofino, which is
Portofino. It's amazing.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
I was lucky because I've got cousins who live just outside of Venice. So I used to I've been to Venice more times than I can count on my two hands. It's
I've never been.
Oh my God, it's great. I think you have to apply for like a tourist visa or something. Like they're selling tickets now to go because they got so overwhelmed by tourism.
Wow.
That I think you actually have to kind of like really plan your trip now. So it's
well, my name drop is that Jack sang with Kylie Minogue at the Teatro Venezia.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
I've probably ashamed myself with that accent. So we'll move on quickly. But going back to your podcast, I was completely reignited and got reading over summer, and it was brilliant. And I'd listen to your podcast, and then I'd read a book, and then I'd find the book you were talking about, and I felt like I was part of a community. And certainly, during things like lockdown, that's just beautiful and wonderful to have that. I was then asked to come on and do a little snippet with you for Christmas, and was asked about books that changed my life. One of the books I mentioned was Skin to State, which is Cash
which is
Carraway.
still on my TBR pile.
Right, well, Cash Carraway hopefully is going to come on this podcast.
Oh, yay.
And then you can have her.
Yeah, pass her over.
Or we could share her. I don't know. We could do like a double whammy.
Why not?
I don't know if you're watching Rain Dogs on TV, which is it's written by Cash Carraway with Daisy May Cooper, and it's I'd say, I haven't finished it yet, and I don't want to do any spoilers, but I'd say it takes part of Skin to State, so it takes the sort of latter part of Skin to State. Absolutely brilliant, loving it, highly recommended. So we've got to definitely do something with Cash Carraway. But the other book I spoke about, which changed my life, was Julia Cooper, Riders. And you were ecstatic about that because Shooters is basically what Julia Cooper did to the world of show jumping and then later the opera scene. You've kind of done to wedding photography.
Yeah, you knew it was so sexy.
It's so I did. Oh, come on. I've known wedding photographers who have literally got more debauched lives than Ollie Reed. I mean, some weddings you go to, and if you're going to big weddings where there's a lot of money and a lot of glamour and sometimes, a lot of class A's.
Well, yeah. But it's funny. So like in the beginning, on the first page of my book, I say, oh God, these photography conventions are a hotbed of sexual activity. And so many people were like, are they? But then somebody pulled me aside recently when I was at a photography convention. They're like, yeah, the one in Malta, everybody was bed hopping. And I'm like, whoa, really?
Really?
Cool. Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy times.
God,
but,
brilliant.
Yeah,
well,
so
I love it.
guess, yeah.
So tell us about Shooters. I mean, you tell us about how you published it and then where you're at with it and where it's going to potentially go, because I can see a TV Netflix thing. And I've had authors on who I've said this about and they have subsequently gone on to have TV stuff. My dear, most beautiful, brilliant friend, MG Leonard, who you must have on. She's amazing. We were roomies in the 90s and she started off with Beetle Boy and, it's Twitch and she, the last interview we did together is in talks with Netflix. So
wow.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does. And I know my agent has had some inquiries from film and TV, but it's such a,
just slip that in.
Yeah, but it's such a long process. I can't even get excited about it.
Okay.
Because it's such a long
bit.
process and nothing has happened yet. And my husband worked in film and TV for a while. We actually made a film called All Bar Love, which I wrote, which you'll never see. You'll never see it because, maybe if we put it up on Vimeo or something and send it out. But it had a distribution deal and all kinds of stuff. But then the crash happened in 2008. Was it?
Yeah.
And the distributor went out of business, and so the only people
it's Vimeo, of course.
Yeah, I know. Yes. I thought we can just stick it up on there. I'm like it's a fun little rom-com. It's not the most amazing thing you'll ever see, but it's comparable to some of the ones that Netflix has been churning out. So.
And did you produce it or act or direct everything?
Yeah. So my husband and I were in a small cameo in the background, but my husband directed it and his friend Obbs produced it.
Wow.
And because Obbs had worked on Lord of the Rings and had lots of film and TV experience. So, it was another part of my life. But
there's
what
nothing
it did
you
teach
haven't
me,
actually done, is there? Let's be honest.
Well, what it did show me is how tough the film and TV industry is. So like I said, I'm not getting excited.
Okay,
about
we'll I'll have you back on when you're like you've got your second series on Netflix. But going back to Shooters, you had a bestseller, and you did that on your own. You self-published, didn't you? What led you to that decision and what subsequently the success?
So I made that decision because I didn't have any other choice. No, that's not true. Obviously, there are always choices. But so my agent sent it out to all the publishers, and they came back with great feedback saying, yeah, we love this book, really great, but we're not going to take it. And, there were a couple of reasons. One was, we already have a wedding-themed rom-com on our lists, and they can be very... I guess obviously all wedding rom-coms are the same in their minds, and the fact that this one, like something like The Love Hypothesis, which is all written by a scientist about science, this Shooters is a book about wedding photography written by a ex-wedding photographer, it's brilliant. Written from a place of truth and knowledge, and I think that
authenticity
comes across
as well.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, people, we're so lacking in integrity and authenticity often, certainly on social media, and I think the fact that you've been there and done it, and this comes from your experience with a little bit of your sort of magic in it. I think that's what's so lovely. It's great to know that actually, shit, did that. I love it when you kind of go, shit, did that happen? Or who's that meant to be?
Everybody in the photography industry is like, oh, I think I know who that is. Yeah.
I love it.
No, it's quite
well,
funny.
Melissa Love shot my wedding. And
did she?
Well, Binky Nixon. Shot it actually it was Sally Forder, who is her assistant, who was her first ever solo shoot. And then Mel, second shot, because she was a guest. Right. But she offered. Yeah. And it was wonderful to have. And this is the thing, people, again, I was talking about don't value creativity and probably just think, all wedding photographers are the same. I mean, the fact that my photos from Sally compared to Melissa's, equally incredible, but so different.
So different. There's so many different styles out there.
You've really got to look at a photographer's work and decide, do I like this whole look? Because I hate anything that looks like it's been too edited. Or some photographers do that they really get the definition up.
Yeah.
And I hate it. It looks like a sort of, everyone looks dirty. And then they take all the contrast out. And not the contrast, they take all the saturation down. And I hate that. I know it looks lovely on social media. And if you want to, curate your pages, that's a look you can go for. But yeah, I think also being mindful of not dating your wedding photography.
Yeah, I think classic is sort of best. And it's people need to be careful when choosing their wedding photographer, because it's actually one of the longest relationships you have.
Yeah, and they've got to come to your wedding.
Yeah, they got to come to your wedding, and then if you have children, you often will go back to this person.
Yeah,
so it's not just one thing. It's so it's really important to make sure that you get on with the person.
And we're digressing, and I've only got you for a short time because you're so busy, probably off to do something else that will go viral.
Something fabulous, not really.
So they were saying no, and the other reason I think I heard you saying on Women's Hour with on Radio 4 with Anita Rani. You were saying that one of the reasons as well, which really sucks, and I know this has happened to a lot of people and so much talent slips through the net, you didn't have enough Instagram followers.
Well, it wasn't Instagram, it was TikTok that they were.
Oh, actually, you see, I won't even, I will not do it. I've tried, and and now all this hoo-ha with the Chinese, I'm frightened of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't know. I'm on there because
and your
as an author,
TikToks are brilliant.
Thank you. If only anybody ever saw them, because TikTok doesn't show them to anybody.
So this is what I mean. Talent gets hidden. So even if you are on TikTok, I hate the fact that it is down to followers, especially when so many people are buying followers at the moment as well.
Yeah, no, exactly.
There should be a disclaimer. I think influencers should say they should own up to filters and followers. Yeah. How many? I really do. And I think that will have to come, because a lot of businesses invest in these into these influencers, thinking, they've got 120,000 followers, brilliant, they'll shift a t-shirt, and you send them a t-shirt and it bombs and you've lost 30 quid and you realise that, well, their interaction was absolutely shit. Is that because they've bought followers, and engagement, that's what we should be looking at. But anyway, I that's something that I really get on my high horse about. But
no, you should.
I just think I'm so glad you didn't let that put you off.
Yeah, I don't take no very well.
Good. That's the New Jersey in you, isn't
That's the New Jersey, yeah. And so I said, okay, fine, I'll do this myself. I mean, I've got a degree in marketing, and I, was in advertising. I had my own business for 15 years. I can market a book. And so I did, and I chatted to my agent, and she gave me her blessing, and off I went. And I feel like I've done like a master's degree in publishing since then, because there's lots of little decisions you need to make and whatnot. But yeah, so I decided to launch the book at the conference where I first of all had the idea for the book, and second of all start the book out, so the book actually starts out at a fictional version.
So you did full circle. Love this.
Yeah, and so they gave me a table and it was great. And so I chose this date for launching the book, and I wanted to give myself sort of the debut that I always wanted. I didn't want it to just be like just happen and that was it. So I created some fanfare around it, and I looked at, as a woman does, I looked at what I had in my toolkit, and it was no money, but I had a fat contact list of amazing photographers from around the world. So I reached out to them and I asked if they would take a photograph of themselves reading shooters. And so they did that. And I was like praying. I was like, oh God, please, I hope that they understand the brief, that I'm not talking like iPhone photos here. And so they started rolling in, and I was quickly, quite confident that this was going to work, because the photos were amazing. I mean, they gave me tens of thousands of pounds worth of photography, commercial photography for free, And so then I was orchestrating everything via a secret Facebook group. So I was telling them, okay, so this is what we need to do at 8 a.m. on March 14th. We're all going to go live with these photos and and we did. And we just if you were a social photographer and you didn't see something about shooters in your feed on March 14th, then you obviously weren't on Facebook or Instagram.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so it was
almost like a sort of flash mob.
Yeah. It was, yeah. But and I had a street team. Yeah, it was exactly like that. So I had a street team of people that I had organized through social media. So it's something that a lot of independent authors do, is you just get people to help you promote stuff. So in the 10-day run up to it, I had them retweeting things for me and putting things on their stories and whatnot. So just raising the profile of my account on the algorithm. And then on the day, of course, I had them everything blasted at all that content that was put up. So
brilliant.
And it works.
Absolutely genius. Yeah. I mean, this is just so clever. I almost feel as a social media person myself, I almost feel like we're giving away really good advice for free.
I know. I should do a course on this.
Yes.
But, yeah.
No, genuinely. I mean, one thing I'm really delighted about is that you've now agreed to become a full calling bird.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And our WhatsApp group is alive with things that we want that get on our tits.
I promise there's too many things. Too many things.
But it's great because we can do it all. And there's so much that we want to talk about. And I know a lot of it is we want to talk about social media and how hard it is, but also lots of things. You're so passionate about a lot and you're so educated on everything. And I just think you're going to be such a brilliant bird, a panelist. I'm not calling you a bird. I just like that. I should just say the full calling birds have always been the birds, whatever gender they are. And this time round, this season, we've got a load, haven't we? Which we're going to be trying really, really unsuccessfully.
I'm sure.
to form a rota.
Yeah, I know. We're like I said, it's trying to herd cats, trying to get us all.
It is, and we're all menopausal and what have you. But I know that you are hopefully going to be able to pass on your experience and your kind of your everything with regards to marketing, because so many people have just been fascinated by what it's been brilliant to watch. And I have to say, there was one video you did, and I want to ask you how you did it, because using artwork comes with licensing and copywriting. You did, and I want everyone to check this out, a video of a woman, and I think it ends up you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's through the ages, but they're all holding a copy of your book.
Yeah.
So just that's obviously different artwork. Did you commission an artist or did you find artwork? I mean, how? Like the idea of that is so genius
I know people.
in itself.
I know people.
Really? Is this just delving into your contacts?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a guy named David Sheldrick, and he used to work for me a long time ago. And then, our paths keep crossing because he opened up a studio in Wimbledon around the time when I closed down my physical studio and was taking it. It was 2016. I closed it down and started renting space instead of having my own because overheads were high.
Yeah.
And so we just keep our paths keep crossing, and I saw some amazing stuff that he was putting up with dancing and the costumes changing and through the ages and whatnot. And I just said, could you do something like that for me? And he said, yeah, leave it with me.
What?
And he did. So all those images are created in AI.
Oh, wow.
And then it's all AI video. So
the future of AI. I mean, there's reasons I hate it. Being made redundant and replaced by AI is obviously a big fear in social media.
Yeah.
But I also know of a radio station where one of the guys who runs it is so toxic to women, they only have AI women, which is another episode.
Oh my gosh, really?
But yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do with AI, and people just don't realise. They're like, but I don't want to talk to a robot. It's like, you won't even know. That's the worry.
Yeah, that's a scary thing.
So AI is obviously means it's license-free artwork, or
yeah, it's all license-free. It's because it's all created by the by the tech.
Wow.
And
I want to love it, but it frightens me.
It does. It's interesting though, because I look at people like David and what they're doing with AI. So I think that, I mean, it's here. It's not going to go away. And I think that as creatives, now we need to learn how to harness it and use it for our own benefit and create new
not let it
things
eat us up. Exactly. Get on the pony. Exactly.
So it'll be interesting, and I say that until AI starts writing fiction books, then I'm going to be cursing it.
If that's the thing, we talk about authenticity and buying from people, and I think I do need to know who I'm like. It matters to me who's written the book and what experience they have and how much of it is true. And I love true crime stuff on Netflix anyway, so it have to be real stuff. I don't want robot stuff. And I hate sci-fi and anything like that. But whatever you've done, it's paid off because your book is a bestseller. Yeah.
So when I did the marketing campaign, it got to #1 in America in satire and #1 in Canada in pop culture or something, and then in the UK
that is mental.
Yeah, it was great. And then in the UK, it got to #16 in rom-coms, which is really competitive.
It's probably the most saturated market.
Yeah, it's pretty saturated. But now is the hard part. Now I'm learning how to do all the maintenance marketing, which I again don't know how to do for books. So I'm again on that learning curve and dipping my toe into Facebook advertising.
Right.
And
yes, you've done a video on that.
Yeah, that's my frustration coming out. But, it's funny because I've been at it for a week. I've been learning. And now I've finally found an ad that I'm getting loads of clicks.
Really?
But now they're not buying when they get through to the page. So now I'm looking at the page going, okay, what's standing in their way? So
you need to look at the conversion rate, don't you? And all that technical stuff.
Yeah, stuff that I don't like because, like you, and I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm undiagnosed ADHD. So
I think all
that kind
creatives
of
are.
stuff. Yeah, it's not. This is not my forte. This bit, but I'm doing it because I have to. So,
it's interesting you say that. I speak to so many people who kind of pretty much think and know themselves enough, and aren't people to kind of just jump on a bandwagon and go, I think I've got ADHD. Actual people who are incredibly creative and incredibly successful, but have always just struggled with neurotypical stuff, stuff that we just assume people might be good at or enjoy. I can't do admin or any kind of data or anything like that, but just give me something creative to do and I can do it for hours. And for years that was deemed as, well, that's not a skill set, that's just messing around. But now we have got a world that is a lot more creative. People can take control of their careers, and also so many people are being diagnosed with ADHD that we're understanding it. And one thing that my consultant said to me was the diagnosis is 80% of the treatment / cure, because you just have to relook at everything differently. It's really weird. You're the same age as me, and to find out that for nearly half a century I've always known that something's off. Yeah. I've always felt like the wrong puzzle piece in a box, and now it just makes sense. And it's that almost that closure and that acceptance, and to know that you're not a complete dickhead that doesn't listen.
But in a way, I also feel like it's my superpower.
Yeah.
Completely.
100%. I always say it's an explanation, not an excuse, because I will never excuse myself now. No,
I don't think that it would surprise any of my friends to learn that I'm neurodivergent. Because I get that hyper focus. I have it with the book. I had it with my photography, and when I want something, I figure out how to get it, and that is 100% my superpower.
Yeah, and it's that obsession, that obsessive behaviour, which people in the past used to say, "Oh, she's got such an obsessive personality," or even I was diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
And sent to a clinic and sent to therapy.
Yeah.
And I knew that my obsessions were changing constantly.
Yeah. It's funny, the misdiagnosis. I was listening to Women's Hour the other day, and there was an athlete who had been misdiagnosed bipolar, and she had autism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, they think I might have autism.
Well, I'm not saying anything at this point, Ari myself, but
well, my father is, I would say, undiagnosed, and we can't say conscious anymore.
No,
it's,
yeah,
a
that's
terribly
high functioning autism is the
yeah. But he's a surgeon. He's a veterinary surgeon. But
Yeah.
I mean, has no social skills, can't make eye contact, has no friends really.
Yeah.
I know that sounds terrible. A few uni friends from back in the day, but I mean, hyperfocuses, has obsessions, and only eats certain type of food. I mean, how?
Yeah.
Yet we'd all just go, oh no, he's not, because he's a surgeon and gets paid loads of money. And it's that understanding now. And I know there's The Good Doctor, which is an American series, which is highlighting that people really can have high functioning jobs with autism.
Yeah.
But even for me as a woman, I still struggle with accepting I might be autistic, because for me, autism is still Rain Man.
Yeah, I know.
Who had talents and a gift.
Yeah. But that's the media portraying something.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Because yeah, I mean I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same boat.
Well, I would suggest when it all dies down with your book, which I don't see it happening actually, which is a great hyperfocus, but I would definitely, have a little, maybe go and have a check, see, because you just do a form originally. Mine was so batshit crazy, and I filled it out wrong, which I think was probably like part of the test.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Didn't read the instructions, only read what I wanted to read, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of this. Like when I think it was like 5th or 6th grade, we were given this math test, and she said to us, "You've got to read through the entire test first before you take it." But I was like, I'm not reading this test. I know all the answers. I'm just going to do this test.
Wow.
And I started doing it, do all the answers, get to the last thing on the page is, don't do this test. Just put your pencil down.
Oh, well, my mother used to be a group manager of Reed Employment in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And one of her things with me, obviously now we understand ADHD. I mean, she's so neurotypical, it's ridiculous. So she used to say to me, you never listen, you never read instructions properly. And she used to constantly tell me of this story, how she had a huge enrolment of temps come in, all wanting to be part of Reed Employment. I mean, this was back in the day where people were literally fighting to get into recruitment agencies and what have you. And exactly that. She said, you all need to read the thing. But the twist was, after question 5, get up and hand your thing in. And there were people, even though there were people getting up, there were still people sat there thinking, God, that person's done their test quick. And, and it was like, it immediately sorted the wheat from the chaff, which is terrible, because as an ADHDer, I would have failed miserably and they would never have seen my creative genius.
Exactly. So, but the world is made for neurotypicals.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
yeah, screw them. Fuck them. Let's just create our own community and just get self-published. So what's next? You've got 4 Calling Birds. You've got this sort of maintaining marketing now, which I don't envy you for. Another book? Have you got another book in you?
Yeah, book 2. It's already about 70% written, I'd say. And I just need to get back to it. I need to park the marketing for a bit and really go back and finish it, because it's coming out in September/August.
Really? So you have to give yourself you have to do that.
Well, it's for fans as well, because, I've got people reading shooters now and they're contacting me going, when's the next one coming out?
That's
Which is great. It's great.
That's excellent.
But also it's like pressure to be like, okay, I need to get this one out there. But it's called Chasing the Light. And it'll
it's a sequel.
It's a sequel, and I'll be doing the cover reveal sometime in the next couple weeks. By the time this goes out, it'll probably already be up there. But
and your main protagonist, is she based on you?
They're all based on. So this is the thing. Like, every character has me in them.
Okay.
Because we're, as people, we have so many sides to ourselves. So there's a little bit of me in everybody. And so Francesca March is the heroine in this one, and she actually has she suffers from polycystic ovaries, fibroids, and endometriosis, and that's been kind of inspired by my best friend Sarah, who also has all these things. And
I think that's
her story.
That, to put things that are relatable that happen to real people again. AI's never going to be able to do that, Julia.
No, exactly.
Come on, think Screw positive. They won't know. They won't know about your friends' things.
No.
So that so we've got more of two two. Well, you see, I can't even say it sober. We've got more of Two Lit Chicks, I hope.
Yeah, coming in May, so mid-May, I think.
Who have you got coming up?
We've got LJ Ross, who's like one of the self-publishing superstars. Like, if I can get to her level. I actually had a fight with my husband the other day, and I'll probably say this to her on the podcast as well, because her husband does all like the Facebook advertising and all that stuff for her. And I'm like, why can't you be like LJ Ross's husband?
All you did is fucking lifted Patrick Swayze.
So yeah, no, but she's coming on. I'm really excited about that chat. And we've got Richard Swan, who is a major fantasy writer who Ed will fawn all over.
Yeah, we should mention Ed is now. So Jen did one season, and then
she did most of 2 seasons.
Right, and now you've got Ed.
Yeah,
which is hysterical.
Honorary chick.
I love your. Well, we've had male birds, but your chemistry is gold.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. It's just it's magical. It really is. And the book bites, is that something that runs along in between seasons, or as a tag along? Or?
Yeah, we started doing them because I went to a podcasting event, and they were talking about short content and how short content is really in like 5-minute snippets, 10-minute, nothing too long, that people can sort of snack on, and it's also a good way to start getting more people into your podcast. And so we started doing them, and we did the quiz on Friday. So I do book quizzes on Fridays as well. And yeah, it's definitely expanded our audience and zoomed our downloads right up the charts. So
yeah, your downloads have been, I mean, I can't give away any trade secrets, and that's because I don't know them, but I know occasionally from your producer's face, the downloads are insane. And I mean, it's a really well received podcast. You guys have absolutely smashed it. And
now I need a sponsor.
Yeah, you really do. And I'm always haggling for Barry's Tea to sponsor mine.
Oh, they should.
Yeah. I think they
all
should.
That tea. Yeah.
I drink, and I literally, if people come to see me, I give them a box of Barry's as a sort of take-home present. So yeah, they should. I hope you're listening, Barry's. But what would be your dream? We'll have to end this on. Well, no, I want to ask one more question.
Okay,
sorry.
go on.
Listeners can properly get involved now, can't they, with Two Lit Chicks?
Yes. So we're going to be setting up a system where they can call in and leave the book that changed their lives, a little snippet about it. We used to run it at the end of the program, but I think we're going to start trying to incorporate it more into the interview with the main guests. So that's going to be coming soon.
So you can discuss
Thanks
it
for the reminder.
Yeah. So you can discuss it with someone from, like Meredith from Tring can send in a voice note, and then an actual famous author could hear that and have an opinion on my book that changed my life.
Yeah. Why not? Sounds fun, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're going to put that in. We're going to try it out in season.
I can't wait
4.
for that. Yeah. That's going to be brilliant. And so you've got to go. You're very busy. You've got to book. Who would be your dream sponsors? Let's try and because you create magic, Julia, and I have no doubt that you will get a sponsor. So if anyone's listening, and let's hope they are.
Yeah.
Who would be the dream sponsor for Two Lit Chicks?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Yeah, I've thought about this question, but I haven't really come up with an answer. But my mind goes all over. I'm like, IKEA could be it, and then we could talk about bookshelves. And I'm talking that because we've just had loads of bookshelves come into the house because we just moved. But I don't know. Like somebody who does like beautiful paper products or notebooks or something like that, because that's something I love. But really, I'm not picky. So
anyone will take your money. We'll take your money. Yeah. I mean, we saw how quickly you shoved your husband off the stage. She's really not picky, guys.
That's my hyper focus. Right
Providing the money is right, she'll take it. No, I mean, in all honesty, and we do joke, you wouldn't take anyone sort of fascist or right wing.
No, gosh, no.
So GB News need not apply.
No, exactly. We're good. Thank you so much.
Julia, this has been, I could actually chat to you for hours. You're just brilliant. And I think you're such an inspiration. The way you as well with, you know, the way you've come from a podcast to an author to going on Woman's Hour. The way you broadcast is so beautiful. You're such a professional. And I'm so grateful to have you on here, but also as a bird on Full Calling Birds. Thank you so bloody much is all I can say.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Julia, for joining me today, and also to you, the listeners, who make this all possible by keeping me going with your love and your support and your downloads and your shares. Please subscribe, tell your friends, and you will find everything in the show notes so you can stalk Julia and look at the magic she has made. Thank you very much, and I will see you next time.
Diary of a Name Dropper is lovingly produced by Your Voice Here. Need a podcast? You need Your Voice Here.
Jeremy, cut it out.